Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and this is a continuation of my comparison on the video cards, and this is the hardware component of the video cards. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to swap out the video card to improve your graphics capability, so that you can actually play some of the more high-end games. All right. So what I'm gonna do is this is my Antec P250. What we're going to do is we're going to open it up and swap out the cards. Let's go ahead and zoom in for that. Alright, here's the Antec P250. What we're going to do is we're going to take off the side panel. I just turned it around and now I turned it back around again. Okay. Sorry. Got to turn this thing around. There we go. Can you see it? Good. Okay, I've turned it around. Now there's a plate on this side and there's a plate on this side, but the other opposite side is where my motherboard is, and no need to open up the back plate where all the wires and cables are. So you take off your two hand screws on the back holding your plate in place. Remove those, just push them off to the side, and then you just pull the side plate off. Now, different towers are going to have different ways to take your plates off, so just look at your user manual or just figure it out, because usually it's just a couple of screws in the back and then just slide it off. It's usually the way it is. Okay, now as you can see, the Antec has my motherboard here, power supply here, hard drives, disk drives. Okay, and so this is the current hard drive that I'm using, or hard drive. That's the current Gigabyte GTX 660, and this is my GTS 250. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be replacing this with the 770, and then I'm going to be shifting this down to this position, and then taking that one completely out and storing it for later use or for sale. Okay, so let's see if I can't lay the motherboard down, because I want to lift things up. I don't want to pull them off to the side, so I'm going to lay the case down. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see down into the case. Alright, there we go. I think you can see down into the case now. So in the Antec for the video cards, remember, anytime you're handling any kind of electronics, sensitive electronics like this, you want to make sure you touch a large metal item, maybe just release any static electricity that you might have built up by walking on carpet. So now I'm going to, well, actually the first thing I'm going to do is put my glasses on. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to release the screws here that are holding my video card against the case. Remember, this case could handle even a large motherboard. It can handle a mini, medium, or large. So whatever you got will actually fit into these Antec case. This Antec case, I love this Antec case. Okay, we're going to set these screws off to the side, which I think are exactly this. No, they're not. Okay, I'm also going to, just since I'm here, just going to go ahead and unscrew these. You could use a Phillips head, because they have Phillips head screws in them, but then they also have these hand tightener fittings over them. There's a little pressure on that. Okay, took those out. There's all four of those, should be the same. Okay. Release the power, because you don't need your power hooked up to your cards while you're pulling them out of your case. And what I like to do is keep my wires kind of organized a little bit. So I'm going to pull this wire and lay it off to the side. I don't know if you can see all that, but did kind of zoom in on the case. Well, okay, what am I doing here? Yeah, squeezing this and pulling this up and out. There it is. And just lay that one off to the side. Okay, that should be all the power that goes to my video cards. So let's go ahead and lift these up and out of place. Now, sometimes there is a catch, especially on this motherboard, which is also a Gigabyte motherboard. It has a little release catch that you squeeze so that you can release. I might need a tool to reach down there and release it, but it looks like it's already released. So I'm just going to lift up and out. Shit, it doesn't even look like this video card was actually in all the way, actually. To be honest. Okay, it is up and out. This is my GTX 250 with 1 gig, and I think this is a PNY. Yep, PNY. Okay, this one's, I'm going to set it off to the side. We're not going to be using that for the remainder of this video. I've already run the stress tests on this setup, and when I get everything reinstalled, I'm going to run the stress tests on the other, and then I'm also going to compare them. Okay, this one does have a little release finger switch. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit. And your card might also have that too, your motherboard. See this release switch here that you got to kind of press to release? Okay, well that one has it on the other side. Look at the dust on the fans. Okay. Okay. So, and I've used this plate to cover up the SLI just to keep it safe, you know, and protected. Now, one thing that the 770 does with their fans are just the first few seconds of it running. When it needs to start up, the fans will go in an opposite direction to kind of knock the dust off, and then it'll start running to cool the fan, to cool the board. Okay, so let's reach down there, click that release. I am past that. It should be coming up. There we go. Okay, it's caught on a couple of things. There we go. And now it is out. And that is the GTX 660 with wind force. And you can see the coolant tubes and the heat sinks. This is an awesome video card. It's going to be going into my second slot, but I'm going to hold off on that, and that'll be the second card I put in. Again, I go back to touching metal because I don't want any static electricity to hit any of my cards. They provide it to me with, inside, I should say, a static resistant bag. Let's go ahead and open that up. Slide this out. And that is the Gigabyte 770. You notice it has 3 fans. Still has the coolant. They cover everything with a plastic cover, mainly to keep any dust or debris out. But I will be using these 2 connectors, and I will be using that's the DVI connectors. I'll also be using the HDMI connector. Wait a second. That's the HDMI connector. I'm not going to be using the, what is that? Video connector? Okay, because I have 3 monitors. Let's take it off, take the plastic off the bottom where it connects to the computer. And let's slide that in. Hopefully I got enough room here. Moving power cables around. I got room. That's very fun. Okay. Okay, it's lined up. You got to make sure that the metal plate that's on the end, basically the plate here has a couple of notches usually, and it has a point where you can screw in. That does have to meet inside your case, between the case and your motherboard. It's kind of just another way to line everything up. Okay, now as I push down, gotta make sure everything snaps into place. Wow, that just went in too easy. I don't know if I like that. Okay, all the snaps are holding. That's good. Let's grab a couple of those screws and screw it into place. Line the case up and screw it. That basically will keep it from sagging when this case is standing. Plus, it'll keep it grounded because it'll be connected to the case. Okay, it is in. The fans are free. There's nothing interfering with the fans blowing. Okay, now let's go ahead and add the second video card. The second wind force. That one actually snapped into place. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure that's nice and tight, not too tight. Sturdy. Okay. Now, the last thing we need to do is attach the power cables back. So, because you got to have power to your okay. I'm noticing something here. This one has two power cables, and all my power cables have just one. Okay, so, with a little off-camera editing, what I've done was I swapped out one of my power cables for an unused power cable that I have right here. And this one has a different type of a connector. This has the 4-pin connector. And that's the one we're going to use on the new video card, because the old connector is like a 6-pin connector. And we can just go ahead and connect that to the video card, the old video card. Okay, so that's connected in and out of the way. Okay, but for this 4-pin connector to actually work, I will need to connect these adapters to that power line. One. There's two. Okay, and this will plug into one of these two power strips here. Very good. Now, to get the second one, you gotta use a second adapter, Luckily it came with 2 adapters. And I'm going to hook this to this one. And I'm going to hook this into this one. Come on now. These pins are not exactly lined up. Got to kind of fiddle with it until you get them to line up. There we go. And then we'll plug this second one into the second one. Okay, now that should provide enough power for it. I'm leaving the SLI caps on because I'm not using SLI. They have to be the same chipset, and they're not. Okay, so now let's just put the case back on and run some more tests.